We've tested these 3 things on our existing clients, and we've seen people who have not been selling, they start selling right away. So I'm going to walk you through these 3 things. This is part 2. I already talked about the 3 things, the 2 things in the previous video. I'm just going to talk about probably the last point of the second point, and I'll go into the third point. My name is Iyore. We have trained over 24,000 salespeople across 5 countries: Nigeria, Ghana, USA, UAE, Rwanda. I'm an author of several books and resources on sales. I've been featured on a lot of media platforms to talk about successful selling. I work on an organization where I was given a target to sell to 20 high net worth individuals, and I was able to bring in 21 high net worth individuals in a single month. I also participated in a sales competition where I won, and I was sent for the World Cup for an all-expense paid trip. I also moved to another organization where I was able to double my portfolio by over 100% in just 11 months. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm CEO of Advantage, and our specialty is in Salesforce management, meaning that we work with CEOs, sales managers to optimize and help their teams exceed their sales targets in record time. So let me tell you what we've experienced in the line of sales to help salespeople who have not been selling to start selling well. If you've not been selling, I explained to you yesterday that there is just something wrong with the way you're thinking and the way you're seeing things. And I told you what to do to correct those things. I also mentioned to you the second point. I said, if you're not selling the way you want to sell, you have to check your skills. And I looked at part of the skills yesterday. I said your speaking skills. I explained that yesterday. Your listening skills. That was where I ended. And I said, when you're listening, make sure that you understand that selling is not talking. Ask questions. The questions you're going to ask when you sell, are they written or you memorize them? If you memorize questions, they will not come out the right way all the time. What you want to do is that when you sell, you want to sell the same way all the time. Bruce Lee says, I'm not afraid of the man that has done 1,000 kicks. I'm only afraid of the man that has done 1 kick 1,000 times. I'll say that again. I'm not afraid of the man that has done 1,000 kicks. Quote by Bruce Lee. But I'm only afraid of the man who has done 1 kick 1,000 times. Why? Because the person who has done 1,000 kicks, none of the kicks I can kill could probably get him down. But the person who has done 1 kick 1,000 times, if that kick gets him, he's gone. So you can sell the same way all the time. Like Bruce Lee, who is afraid of the man who has done 1 kick 1,000 times. You can practice 1 pitch 1,000 times and become so good that every time you use it, you close. And that's what I'm telling you. Sell the same way all the time. The questions you're going to be asking any prospect when you sell, let them be the same set of questions. Pre-planned. But somebody says, but the prospects are different. Yes, the whole idea is that when you have a structure and a system that you follow, the moment you meet a prospect who is different, all you need to do is make a slight tweak and not change the entire process. So a slight tweak doesn't necessarily change the entire fabric of the communication. The very essence still exists. Now, apart from being able to listen, which of course questions will lead you to listening, there are strategies for listening. You don't just say, when you're listening, there are things you must apply. For example, you must make a mental disposition. My intention is not to reply. My intention is to understand. The best salespeople, they are not eager to communicate value. They are patient to understand the prospects. Poor salespeople, they're not patient to understand the prospects. They are eager to say what is on their mind, to say what they have to talk about. And the reason why that is so is because of the third point, which I'll get to now, or because of the last point under selling skills, right? I said the first one, mindset. Second point, selling skills. Mindset, as I talked about, possibility, service, gifts. Selling skills now, I talk about speaking, I talk about listening. I'm going to get to the third point now, which would show you one of the reasons why these selling skills too can be a problem. After you've made that mental disposition, you want to also position yourself, your body, in a way that the person you can mirror the person's sitting or body language. Whether this is virtually or physically. If it's virtually, we always encourage you, let the prospect's video be turned on. All videos must be turned on during presentations or during sales meetings. How do you make sure the prospect's video is turned on? When you book your meeting, you give 2 days to book a meeting. So we do tomorrow 9 a.m. or we do Thursday 2 p.m. You give 2 dates and give 2 times. So that the prospects can choose between one of the 2 dates. When you book your meetings and when you book your meeting, next thing you want to do is that you want to make sure that you let the prospect know that, oh, Mr. Prospect, for most of our clients, we normally would like our videos turned on. So that would help us understand each other, make sure that we are both in the conversation fully, and make a decision right away. Hope that works for you, please. Or are you against turning on your video? And the person says, oh, I'm not against it, I'll turn on my video. That helps you immediately. When the person says, I'm against turning my video, then you must sell the person to turn on his video. Because in sales, you sell the appointments before you can sell the product or sell the solution. If you cannot convince someone to give you their time, you probably can't convince the person to give you his money. If you're faithful in little, you're faithful in much. What is little? Time. What is much? Money. So if you can convince someone to give you 10 minutes for a presentation, you possibly can convince the person to give you 1 billion, 500 million, 300 million, 50 million, no matter the amounts. So get good at convincing them to give you their time. So when you've made that physical disposition and you're sitting facing each other, you want to also make sounds to show that you're listening. Okay. I see. You're making eye contact. You're staying with them. The moment as they're talking, you're not interrupting. You want them to finish. If you have any questions around what they said, you can ask, but you don't stop them to say, oh, in fact, Mr. Prospect, I even have a client too, but I know somebody who, don't try to sell at that point. Just focus on trying to understand the prospect. And ladies and gentlemen, when you're done with that, when the person is done talking, you paraphrase. You pause to show that you have listened for about 3 seconds. Then you paraphrase what the person has said before you then start to communicate your value. While all this is happening, you're taking notes, you're writing. So writing is necessary. Writing is compulsory for you to be able to sell and persuade effectively. Now, the final point here under skills is memorizing your products. There's a reason why most times graduates are hired in sales teams. It's because we know that when you went to school, you memorize things. Now, a lot of people criticize the educational system. They say things like, educational system will just cram and pour. Now, in a sense, that has its good parts. The fact that you can keep a lot of information in your mind and get into the exam and recall it, it will help you in sales. Because that would mean that you can get a lot of information about your product or service, keep it in your mind. When you go for a meeting, you can then be able to pour it as the case may be. But you just don't pour it in any way you like. You must make sure that the knowledge you have about your product or service, the difference between an expert and a novice is the fact that an expert has his knowledge in order. So you move from being a novice in selling to be an expert by arranging the order of the products, the knowledge of your products, by arranging it in the right order, in a systematic order. You must make sure that when you're communicating value, it moves to a crescendo. You must start with probably the strong features, you move to the stronger features of your product, then you move to the strongest features of your products, so that it will move the prospect's brain like the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like numbers, like running a race to the finish line. And at the highest points, you can help them make a decision. So memorizing is key. Don't say things like, I learn my product gradually. You can't learn this gradually. If you are trying to learn this gradually, you'll be missing your best opportunities because of your inability to memorize your products successfully. You know the funny thing about sales? When people come into sales, they think about the best prospects they have and they want to go after them. Yet, they possibly at that point don't have the best level of knowledge and the best level of selling skills. So what do? They go after their best prospects at their lowest skill level. Then when they meet their lowest prospects, in quotes, prospects who they don't know, they think that they want to use their highest skill to be able to get them. Whereas it should be the reverse. When you join sales, focus more on doing cold calling, people you don't even know, possibly, so that you are doing things at your lowest level, with your lowest level of skills. Then when you finally have optimized your highest level of skills, you can go to people who don't. You can go to people who you know, so that you can be able to get them to do the best with you. And when I say people you know, I'm not really talking about family members. I'm talking about possibly leads that you know, that you have, or contacts you have, that are quality contacts that have the ability and capacity to buy from you. So I'm not so, of course, the principle we always tell of starting with those you know, move to those you don't know still stands. Because those you know, we're looking at possibly family members, friends, but here I'm talking about contacts who you believe have the capacity to buy from you and are not necessarily close relatives or friends to you. Now, final point here, I said number 1, mindset, number 2, skills. The final point here, that's the reason why you're probably not selling, is your work ethics. Your work ethics. And it's something that all of us have had to work on, right? No, but none of us were born with great work ethics. Work in sales is not work in any other profession. So when I say work ethics, I'm telling you now that first point is more leads. More leads must be generated. If you're generating enough leads, you'll be making enough money. So what you need to be thinking about is, how do I get more leads? Everybody always thinks about, how do I generate leads? How do I generate leads? And when you're thinking about generating leads, you're thinking about many things. You're thinking about your contacts. You're thinking about people who you know. You're thinking about how they can refer you. You're thinking about your social media contacts. You're looking at your emails. You're looking at people you went to school with. Everywhere you check, you can find possibilities of generating more leads. You're looking at partnerships. People who probably in your organization, for example. I remember many years ago, I was trying to sell to HNIs, and I struck some level of partnership with the corporate banking team. I was in the bank then. Now, I was in retail banking, selling to individuals. So I went to the corporate banking team and I said, hey, please, can I have your list of distributors or your list of clients so that we can be able to sell our retail solutions to them? The guy, when I spoke to him, he was so touched. He said, wow, that guy, man, I really, really respect you. That he has actually been trying to get the other team members to get on board to sell to his clients. But when he pushes it to them, they didn't seem to take it seriously. This is what he told me. So when I got that list, I went after those guys and I started getting business. Partnerships. You see that? So more leads. So, but that took some work. Because it's not like when you just get the lead, automatically they'll just start to buy from you. You have to get the lead and start to call them and start to engage them. But despite the fact that it takes some work, when the reward comes, it can never be compared to the work that was put in. You must choose your work. Do you want the work of not having sales and struggling? Or do you want the work of doing what it takes to have sales and living a better life? And you know the beautiful thing about life? The work is only at the beginning, right? Like when a plane is trying to take off, most of the effort and energy is when it's trying to leave the Earth's surface. That's where most of the work is. When it takes off, it just starts to coast, right? When a farmer is sowing, to till the ground, till the soil initially, to break up the fallow ground initially is where the work is. When he has broken up that fallow ground and starts to sow, the soil just gets richer and richer as time goes on. Well, does the soil gets richer and richer? I think they told us that after a while, the soil starts to degrade. That starts to deplete, right? But at least you know that at the initial stage, you had to do some efforts to till the ground before you could then enjoy the harvest. At least you'd have enjoyed the long harvests, which would have been effortless over a long period before the soil starts to degrade. Because even planes, when they take off, they degrade eventually. All right. So the next point is more meetings. You need to have more meetings. More meetings. So more leads, more meetings. More leads, more meetings. Face-to-face meetings. Schedule more meetings. Don't just post online and think that you have done sales. That's marketing. Posting online is important because that creates some awareness about your brand. But that's not the same thing. So creating awareness is key, but don't now substitute it to think that you have done something that day. Until you've gone for meetings, nothing has been done that day. And this changes the game. I did some work for an insurance company. I was even so touched when the manager of the retail department, she got on stage and she says, I want to give you my 3-point agenda for this year to help our organization achieve its objectives. She says, number 1, the right mindset. Number 2, the right selling skills. Number 3, the right work ethics. I said, Ma, those are my notes. She just laughed. Because you see, if you apply these things I'm showing you, your results will be inevitable. You cannot supposed to get results. So more meetings. The more you sit in front of potential people who can do business with you, the higher your chances of being able to meet your budgets or meet your targets. Then finally, as you have more meetings, don't forget to track. If you don't track, people will give you business and you will miss the opportunities. Don't miss the opportunities. Track, track, track. Keep record. Use a CRM. If you have a CRM tool, perfect. Log in all conversations. Log in all meetings so that you can follow up. If all your leads, you can keep them in your head. You don't have enough leads yet. Or if all your prospects, rather, based on engagements you have and follow-up you're trying to do, if you're trying to keep all of them in your memory, they are not enough yet. They are still too few. That's why you need to have a source of tracking, whether it's a CRM, an Excel sheet, whatever it is, to document every meeting you had and the next steps you're going to take to be able to get the business. When this happens, ladies and gentlemen, you will do this for a short while. Eventually, things will spiral and you will start to have a lot of people know you because you'll be building your personal brand. When you're posting online, sharing content, you build your personal brand, you'll have sold to many people, solved their problems in a significant way, then they'll start to refer you to people who can do business with you. Do your work so well. Serve your customers to the highest level, such that your intention is to make a memorable impact, such that the moment they are done working with you, see, whenever we work with our clients, my heart's desire is to serve them at the highest level, so that when we are done, they won't have to think of any other person. Our name will be on their mouths. That should be your intention. So that way they can always refer you and you can do more business with them going forward. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much. Today is going to be a great day for you. Please remember to like this video. Remember to share this video with others. People who you know need to watch this video. People who you know probably are not selling, or in their teams or in their organizations, they have people who have not sold. And I believe that every organization has such people. Share this video with them. Let it help them meet their budgets and do well in their selling skills. If you have any questions, please comment below. I will drop a video here for you so that you can watch as well, and it's going to help you tremendously. If you need us to work with your sales team to be able to generate results like this, my details are in the video description, which you can click and be able to hear from us. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.